Don't you love turntables? They are everything.
Sugar, oh honey, honey, you are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you.
So you're obviously waiting for me to say something about this great song. Or are you? It's the strangest thing that I've always said to myself and said to other people eventually, that you can't take a bow for inspiration. Well, we wrote the song in about 10 minutes. And the interesting thing for me is that I think I was so excited about that song that I kind of just loved playing it all day long. And but the art of the record is a different story. You have to go into the studio and get musicians to make this song come alive in the studio. And I think it was rough going at the beginning, but I recorded everything on this little Sony cassette player that I had that made everything that I wrote sound like a hit, at least to me. It sounded like it was coming out of a transistor radio. And so after about an hour of it not working, my producer Jeff Barry saw the look in my eyes, and we took a break. And we were in the RCA recording studios at the time in New York. And so he said, so? I said, well, you know, it just sounds so great on my cassette player. And when we were in the office writing and you were doing what you do, which is just a great percussionist kind of banging on the desk and just making sounds to my guitar playing, and it sounded like a record then. And so I said, well, I'll just play it for you. And it was kind of like the groove that I was playing that wasn't happening because someone else was actually playing the guitar, I mean the acoustic guitar version. And for me, I've always felt that although songwriters don't usually get into the studio, but I was an artist. Baby I Love You was about to come out that year. And so finally, through everybody listening to my guitar playing, we finally got this pocket, as they say, which meant that everything sounded great. And so we were all excited about the record. We had, you know, people come in while we were doing backgrounds, and Ray Stevens, you know, Everything is Beautiful, and Ahab the Arab, he showed up, and he's part of the hand claps that you hear. And then they put the record out. Now, Baby I Love You was starting to climb the charts. Sugar Sugar comes out, and nobody wants to play it. And so Don Kirshner, man with the golden ear at the time, hired an independent promotion man. And he decided that the independent promotion man should walk in with a blank label so that nobody knew it was the Archies. And he wrote some funky, let's say funky words on the label, and walked into a radio station in San Francisco. And obviously he goes there every Tuesday, as we continue to do today. I think it's still Tuesdays. And he walked in, and the music director, which was also the program director, said, okay, so what do you got? He said, I got this hit. And the guy said, so who's it by? And he said, oh, I can't tell you. He says, well, you got to tell me. There's got to be a history. You got to tell me. No, I want you to hear this. And if you don't think it's a hit, you don't have to play it. But if you think it's a hit, then will you play it? He says, we only play the hits here. That's what you hear from people that listen to your music and decide not to play it. They say, well, you know, it doesn't sound like the other records. It's not really for our station. So he plays him the record, and the guy said, okay, I'll add it. It sounds like a hit to me. Who is it? He says, the Archies. He says, I can't play it. What do you mean? He said, well, it's a non-group. It's the Archies. What do you do? Well, He said, you promised that you would play it. He said, okay, I'll give you a couple of spins, but you know, it's the year of Woodstock, the Vietnam War, all the excuses in the world said he wouldn't play it. And he turns around and he said, okay, I'll play it this afternoon. He plays it that afternoon, and at that time, in 1969, I think everything in life is about context. At that time, the audience was really, that was the interactive time. No one had a cell phone. You didn't have social media. You interacted with radio stations. You know, you called them, you requested songs, you wanted to be part of whatever radio station was doing. And that one play, the lights lit up at the switchboard, and he added it, and then it was like wildfire, went all over the world. I can travel, and no matter what language the population speaks every day, if I start singing Sugar, everyone's going to end up saying, honey, honey. So, and they're probably singing better than I just did. But so to me, it's really, it's an out-of-body experience. It's something that comes from somebody, and that's all the singers and musicians that play and make records all the time. And then it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the audience that actually, you know, loved the record and purchased the record. And here I am today, 1,000 years later, still enjoying the song when I hear it. I love the Wilson Pickett version and Ike and Tina Turner and Bob Marley versions. But the Archie version is the best. And so maybe my obit will have the word sugar, sugar in it. It's okay. I've lived a very lucky and blessed life. If you look at, all you have to do is look at this song, you know.